Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another special episode of the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans get together to talk about the best and worst of the horror movie genre. With, on increasing occasions, we get a little peek behind the curtain. We get to talk to some of the people bringing you some new scares to your screens. This is just such one of those occasions. I am joined today by director and one of the stars of Plankenstein. Is it the first ever surf movie I've seen with a horror element to it? Quite possibly. I'm here today with Diq Diamond and Amy Jennings. How are you both?
Doing good,
Doing
doing
good.
good.
Good. I'm stoked to be here, man. Welcome,
Yeah.
Well,
welcome. Yeah, aloha.
we're truly a global event today, so thank you both for navigating various time zones. There are 9 hours between Diamond and myself, and Amy, you are slightly more behind me in terms of time as well. So thank you for the early morning on what is a public holiday.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
President's Day. Although,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
we don't want to go into that. Let's not do that political thing right
That's
now.
another horror. That's a whole different horror movie.
that is a
Yeah.
whole. We're not qualified to unpick that particular horror in itself. One thing we are qualified to talk about here, though, is the first ever surf horror movie that I've encountered. Let's dive straight in and talk a little bit about your horror movie, Plankenstein. Where did it come from, Diamond? Where did it begin?
Yeah, and it is. You're right. It is. As far as we know, it's the world's first surfboard slasher film. So where the surfboard is the demon. So it started. I bought a surfboard just at a garage sale, and the top of it was kind of broken and flipped off. So I figured it was a soft top, 12-foot board. I think it'd be great for my friends when they visit. And I figured I'll fix it. So when I got home, I fixed it with a couple dowels and some glue, and then I did this stitching on it. And I showed my neighbor, and I said, "Dude, check out my board, man." He goes, I go, "Look, it looks like Frankenstein." He really looks at me, he goes, "Frankenstein." He's kind of a stoner. He goes, "Frankenstein looks more like Plankenstein." So he came up with the name Plankenstein. And I just laughed. I looked at him, I said, "I'm writing a movie right there." And I'd never done anything to film in my entire life. This was years ago. And I literally got a bottle of Jack Daniels, a little small bottle. Well, maybe not small. And I went to the beach, and 4 hours later, I had written Plankenstein. It wrote in 4 hours, just bang, boom, bang. Yeah.
Incredible work. And, based on that story, I think obviously when we get the physical media release of this, we need based on a true story in that tagline, surely.
Yeah.
As well.
That's awesome. It is based on a true story. It really happened, yeah. Enough of it, right? Just enough.
That's all you need. It worked for Amityville. Why not for you?
Right on. I love it. I'm going to talk to everybody on the team. We're changing things.
And Amy, how about you? Obviously, the two of you have a long history of knowing each other and working together on a number of projects in your lives, right? And then
Oh, yeah.
when did you get the call that they needed a chief of police?
So, so we made an original Plankenstein. How many years ago was that, Diamond?
It was 2011, I think we did it. 2011.
2011 was so many years ago. I got a call when it was first being written, and when he was first writing it, it was like basically he wrote it and called me and said, "You're going to need to come to Hawaii because you need to be our captain." And at the time, the name, it wasn't Captain Miller, which is my name in this Plankenstein. What was it was a
You were the
different.
captain. I was the captain in that one.
That's right. You were the captain, and
She,
I
she played
was
the she
Officer
played the
Corson.
bumbling officer Corson. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did it. We did an original many years ago, and it was when Diamond was just starting out as far as filmmaking, and he was getting his filmmaking chops, and it was fun. I mean, we filmed it in like that first one. We filmed it
4 days, 4.5 days,
4 days.
entire feature. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a pretty crazy turnaround. And so then it just, some people saw it and really liked it, but it had a lot of glitches because it was the first. So it was just kind of a decision to at one point
Well, I
Diamond.
had exported it. I shot it on a pretty crappy, not a Sony, a Sanyo, little tiny Sanyo water camera thing. I never even made a commercial or anything before. And but I had the understanding of audio and stuff because I'm a musician from way back. So we shot it on this little camera, and when I exported it, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I exported in 720. So had Plankenstein been originally exported in HD, we may not have made this version of it because it's the original is just as wonderfully bad. I mean, it's just no. I know what it is. It's that it's a nod to the 70s, 80s genre, right, of B movie making, and the original was that even more so on steroids than this one because
That was
we
much more of a nod.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's a lot more boom mics dipping into the camera shots in that one. But yeah, that it so that was when I got the call. But yeah, it's such a fun movie. And to make it twice and to actually it was a lot the second time around was just a lot more organized and the sets were just so much better and Diamond did all the work as far as like building the sets and the costumes and he really is a jack of all trades. I mean, I know he is my brother. And we have worked on, I mean, I don't know if you guys out there know that, but we are brother and sister. Um, we've worked on some other short films over the years and the scripts he comes up with are pretty dynamic as well as just everything about it, the sets that from zero budgets, and it's a pretty crazy ride to be on once you get on it with Diamond. It's a pretty crazy ride.
Yeah,
So we don't slow
seeing you talking about budgets and so on, I saw some of your videos online. I think Diamond, I heard you at the wrap party and the sort of team screening of the film that you did,
Yeah,
that was online. Let's pause for if you're listening on your phone or whatever, stop and give a little applause here. $8,500, the budget that you created a feature out of here.
feature film, isn't that nuts? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've never heard of it, and well, that's not totally true. Rodriguez when he did El Mariachi, that's what's isn't the rumors that he spent $8,000. So that was kind of my goal was to not exceed anything over 10. And everything went into probably crafty services because I fed everybody pretty well, and it all came out of my own pocket. But other than that, thrift stores, garage sales, Facebook Marketplace,
Freebie.
side of the road, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
See, that's what I love when I talk to any independent horror creators. The craft and I guess like the elbow grease that goes into making something that you love without millions upon millions of studio dollars. And obviously the freedom that affords it's hard work, but the
yeah,
freedom that
right,
affords you as well, that there isn't a corporate entity that aren't as connected to the creation of the film as you said, but it has to be about this, or you
right,
can't say that.
exactly.
And I think it makes films that you can really see the heart and soul in them with
Yeah,
the
totally.
creation of this.
I agree, and I
Well, and
appreciate those
I will
words.
say, even the like the entire cast and crew, volunteering their time is a pretty rad thing to be able to get, the talent that we got that we're just there because for the love of the craft, that
Yeah.
is that's not always the game.
Yeah.
But that's the way it works in indie films too. I've in Hawaii, there's an extremely small, tight knit group of indie filmmakers. It's not a big. It's a pretty small island, right? And and a lot of the people, no, not a lot, everybody who worked on that film, mostly I've worked on their stuff. You know what I mean? So when they're doing a project, I go over and I do whatever they need me to do over there, kind of thing. So that's the that's the reciprocity that happens when you really delve into the indie world. It's not there's talk of doing a sequel on Plankenstein and even a prequel maybe because I have both those written. But it's going to happen whether or not they're like, well, we need to make fun so we can make it bigger. But I'm like, no, we don't. No, we don't. We're going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
That's my rule is we're going to do it no matter what. Period.
And what we talked about the love of this and making the films as well. And I told you before we started recording, Plankenstein gave me some of the same feelings, although for a different season of the year, maybe of some of my other favorites. The closest parallel I can draw to this, which I'll be very quick to add, is as a positive comparison in my eyes, is one of my favorite seasonal horror movies, which is Jack Frost, not the Michael Keaton one where he's a bad dad that becomes a snowman, the one where murderer Jack Frost becomes a killer snowman. That has a very
Mhm.
Christmas coded. I mean, that sequel, is based. It's definitely a tropical island. Possibly it is Hawaii because it is a US set film. The feeling that I got watching Plankenstein earlier today, ready for our conversation today, was that real sense of fun, that acknowledgement of what you are as a film, that you are making a ludicrous concept, a haunted item, or you know, or in the case of Jack Frost, a snowman that it does not look scary on the face of things, that is going to cause all this carnage around the scene, and really leaning into those tropes, the over the top nature of it, and just had a damn good laugh watching as I was going through there. Some of the running gags that we come back to, the ways the characters interact with each other, I found it a really, really charming movie. So, congrats.
Appreciate it.
Oh, thank
Appreciate it. Yeah, the when writing that dialogue too, I again a heavy nod to the 70s and 80s B movie genre, because even the the oh no the don't say shark, the mayor's breathing down my neck and the election's next month. That's said in every single horror movie. Is the mayor's breathing down my neck. I mean, those kind of lines seem stagnant, but they're there for, that's why they're there, because they're stagnant. Does that make sense? That's the
Yeah,
comedy for
you
me.
you have to lean into those
Yeah,
things. You want like you want to serve those fans and give them a nice wink. The really people that are into the genre films to really get to enjoy them, right? And can really
that's right.
appreciate them.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to the independent filmmaking of it as well, and that freedom it gives you as well. I can't speak to the authenticity because I've sadly, if anyone wants to fund me to go, I would love to come and join you sometime. I've never been to Hawaii, but I felt just hearing the characters interact with one another, I felt like you obviously had the freedom to have your characters talk how people do talk locally and use local slang and dialect and so on without the need to, oh, I'm sorry that the audiences in country X won't necessarily get this without having to attune their ear to it or concentrate. Like it felt like you had a lot of freedom to talk quite organically and naturally as well. Is that a deliberate choice that you made in the writing?
Oh, very, very, very. Matter of fact, I have a lot of people on the island who have seen the film and have told me it's the most Hawaii feeling film that they've seen, because matter of fact, I leaned into it. I purposefully cast really local actors and said, look, we're talking pidgin here. I want you to talk pidgin. I had to back them off some point, because pidgin can be really, really thick that you can't understand it at all. And but I love when they kick in the pidgin, go, oh wow, for real, oh, Garen's barbarians, bro. Garen's barbarians, nobody knows what that means, but you know what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Garen's bro. Garen's barbarians means absolutely. It's the weirdest thing they say here. I don't know why they say it, but yeah, the local idioms, tuna, all that kind of a stuff. Calling a girl a tuna that's a slut. It's kind of a gross connotation if you think about it, but it's hysterical in its own right. But yeah, I appreciate that you noticed that, because that's what I really wanted. I'm a Haole dude from California. I've lived for 20 years, but I really wanted it to feel like Hawaii. And I
Yeah.
think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think these are the things that you sometimes see with a studio movie. Not to be derisive of them, they do wonderful work, but having that ability to make something that feels organically, particularly in our current era where maybe audiences are challenged with attention, and there is so much of a safety net placed for audiences as well, because Wobatide, despite the fact that everyone has a box in their pocket that has all the information in the world accessible to them, that they have to Google something that they didn't understand at the first pass, or had to like engage with them a second time to realize what it worked. I think that those choices are what really give a film its spirit, its beating heart, if you
Yeah.
like.
Well,
Pausing.
one of
Oh,
the
sorry, Amy.
things
Go.
one of the things that is really cool though with making indie film is you don't have the politically correct police over you, because and not that there's a lot of it's not but there's not a lot of horrible
No,
things in it, but
yeah.
you have the political, because I'm from LA and I work and stuff, and I will sit in groups that are going through and they're like, you can't say that word because that'll offend this person, you can't say, and it's like, well, what's true to the story? And like I think that's one thing about making a movie about Hawaii and using pigeon is it's true. You know, if you go to Hawaii and you're standing at a 7-Eleven getting your musubi, you're going to hear pigeon behind you in line. And I just think it's really cool to see that organic in this film as well as a lot of other indie films.
Yeah, love to see it. What I wanted to do actually, we'll pause on Plankenstein for a moment, especially as I've got a brother and sister filmmaking team here. Let's rewind a little to understand where it all started, because where did you start making films together? Isn't it you did only when you're adults and professionals, or did you start on this when you were kids, like telling stories and entertaining people together?
Yeah.
Where did it begin?
Well, as a film, Plankenstein, the original Plankenstein was the first thing I ever made, and she was in it, obviously, and I wrote that script line thing for her. So, but I've been a singer songwriter my whole life, and but we as brother and sister, and there's 5 kids all together. We would do shows. A lot of families do this, but we would do shows once a week for our parents. So they'd sit down, we'd have a curtain, we'd make them dinner, we'd have a menu written up, and the kids would come in. We'd come in and we'd call it dinner shows and things, right? So, but Amy's been
Or we'd go to like local hospitals. Our parents were in the medical profession, and we'd go to local nursing homes or hospitals and do shows for the people there.
yeah. But Amy's been an actress for years and years and years, way longer than I've ever been in film. I mean, Amy's been in a bunch of shit. Amy, you can speak to that. She's what was the one you did with what's her name?
I did a film with Juliette Landau called A Place Among the Dead, and there's a lot of big names in it. But I've also done it. I've done a handful of stuff.
You've worked a
In
lot in
LA.
yeah.
Yeah, and I did stage for a long time. I kind of toured the world and did stage for a long time, and then came back to Hollywood and kind of focused on film more. Um, but yeah, I will say though, Diamond doesn't give himself credit. He was in a band called Diq Diamond and the Family Jewels, and it was the biggest stage performance that you could put in small spaces that I've ever seen. Like he'd build this huge human size paper mache egg that he would bust out of in a diaper, and he'd actually cover himself in eggs. And it was a funk band, and it was it really, really like kind of along the lines of George Clinton. So I mean, and he's always been like the production designer. So that is something that Diamond going into film it was just a natural thing.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
different format to do what you've been
Yeah.
doing all your life in entertaining and so on as well. Even if one of you was the pioneer of doing it for in front of cameras and acting professionally. How
Yeah.
about the horror genre? Because obviously it's not a given that you would get into horror as a filmmaker. You could have been writing romantic comedies. You could have been doing period pieces. What was it about horror that got
Well,
into you in particular?
it's interesting. I'm glad you asked that because Amy and I were talking about this recently. I don't want to sound. I love horror films. Like growing up, I loved B movies. I loved them. 555. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Look up
No.
the movie 555. It is nobody's ever heard of it. Recently, I was able to find it. It's a story about a necrophiliac. It's as bad as B movies possibly get.
It's the worst of all.
It's the worst of all the. I think so, but that stuck with me. But I also I'm not a real horror guy. Like I don't go to the movies to see horror movies. I'm not. If someone gives me a B film, I'll watch it. I love them, but I like if you look at our history. Not to plug some other projects we've worked on. I did a concept called Pollock with Smooch. Amy's a character in that. I actually played the host of it. It's a cannabis cooking show. It's about a group of stoners who try to make a cannabis cooking show. And so it's like a sitcom style cannabis cooking show where you get a actual tainted treat recipe by the end of the show. And it's crazy with. So that's on pollockowithsmooch.com. If you look, you can go online and find that. And
We
there's
see that
7
as the
episodes.
sponsor of a broadcast in one of
That's
the
exactly
in the film,
right. So I plug my own stuff. That's what you do, right?
Do it, of course.
But
But I will say though, but I will say though, with your other shorts that we've made, like we made a short called The Bunker. Diamond and me as well. We both really like psychological thrillers. So things that have always like David Lynch is one of our both of our favorite directors. and it's just those, it's horror, but it's horror in a weird, Plankenstein's definitely more of like a horror, classic horror slasher movie. But the stuff that we've made is, The Bunker is about a woman who kills her husband and eats him. Um, so I mean, but they're all like the things that we've done. We did another one called Home Called Hunger. They're very psychological. When because Diamond and I write a lot together, and when we write, they're always like, I'll be like, let's just do, because I'm like, let's just do it. So it's like sweet. And he's like, no, there's got to be something messed up about it, and he'll just kind of keep going on these like psychological, and it ends up being better and more interesting. But yeah, I as much as the horror genre isn't like something that he's focused on completely, because I've worked with him pretty much on everything, it's always has to have like a psychological thriller twist to it, some kind of
but almost always tongue in cheek. There's always an element of comedy to it. I'm not a filmmaker who takes himself serious in any way, shape, or form, and that's not like saying, "Look at me, I'm silly, I'm kooky, crazy guy." I find the art of filmmaking no different than painting. Once you take it so seriously, it loses its soul. I mean, you gotta have some tongue in cheek in everything we do. For damn it.
Yeah, and I think that's also, about how you see life and how you go through it. You can do incredibly serious things. You mentioned your parents in the medical profession. I
Yep.
can think of few people in the world that have to deal with things which are so serious in their jobs, but find the humor in those things as well. And the same is true of horror, right? It can be such a coping mechanism to deal with the horrors of the world, or when you're telling a story that has a great deal of darkness to it. Even in a film which is a horror comedy overtly, the concept of characters dying inherently sad, but you can make it a funny or humorous thing, which is you know part of some of my favorite horror movies that we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
While we're trading recommendations, you gave me some wonderful ones. If I can give you, particularly Diamond as a B movie fan, it's a film, I believe it's got a wider release very, very recently on VOD. Vampire Zombies from Space is one that you would very much enjoy.
Vampire Zombies from Space.
Yeah,
Write that down.
you can see when you've got someone with the title alone. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
delighted by it. Yeah, definitely. We're trading recommendations, and you go
I
for it.
love that.
Um,
Zombies. That's awesome. Vampire
yeah,
Zombies.
it's so much fun. Let's get back though to Plankenstein, and you mentioned your cast, your local cast. Obviously, we have Amy right here as your police lead. Tell me a little bit more about finding your other characters, your actors, and finding them locally. Did they come to you? Did you have to go and find them? How do you go about finding these folks to appear in this movie with you?
Yeah. First of all, Amy's the only person who even worked on the film that doesn't live in Hawaii. Everybody else worked or live here. But I did a normal casting call. There's groups here, film groups and stuff that we all belong to. It's a non-union film, so when we shot it. Fortunately, Amy, I believe, is union now. She wasn't then, thank God. But it was non-union, so that kind of cut out a lot of people I knew, because I know a lot of people that are union. But quite frankly, I struggle with the union as well. Just the paperwork, and it's just blah. So a lot of the cast, to be honest with you, came in weird ways. So like I had a guy cast to play not Scary, the elder. No, wait, I'm sorry, to play Scary. And then he didn't work
Sounds
out.
like you're in the movie right now.
Yeah, we're talking about the movie, this character.
The
And so
elder.
I was like, yeah, well, I'll explain in a minute. To play Scary, and he pulled out like 2 days prior, and our best boy, who's one of my best friends, Robert McLean, who also did all of the visual effects, and
Including that poster behind you.
made the post. He did the poster behind me. He's just a really great dude. I knew he was going to be on set every day because he was going to be on set every day. So I called him and said, "Hey, Robert, listen, Scary pulled out. These are really easy lines. I know you're not an actor, but listen, this is how we got a lot of our cast." And I said, "What do you think?" He's like, "Okay, I'll do it." And so I just put the clothes on him. The dreads are his real, and then he did the Scary stuff, and we were fine. And then like true story, about 2 days before we were going to shoot the elder scenes, the elder guy pulled out, because when you're not paying people, You know what I mean? It's hard to wrangle them in, right?
Yeah, and
So
then life gets in the way, right? It could be a case
right,
of,
exactly
hey, I
right.
was going to do this, but
And the
now I have to take a job.
and the rule on an indie film, at least in my world, is that if the paying gigs always come first before our gig. But if we lock down a date, a shoot date, you have to turn down a paying gig. Does that make sense? Once
Yeah,
we
yeah,
lock
yeah.
it, because everybody's locked in, yeah. But so again, 2 days before we shot the elder scenes, the guy called and pulled out, and I called Robert and said, "Hey, Robert, I know this is a really dumb idea. It's very Scooby Doo, but we're going to make Scary the Elder too." And "What are you talking about?" I go, "Just wait till we get on set. We'll figure it out." So I rewrote that whole thing to work that way. That's how
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah, I
The girl, our
genuinely
lead,
really loved that. I thought I was had a good couple of like proper out loud laughs, like
isn't it
watching some of those
stupid? I mean,
scenes.
and
It's
that was
really
purely
good.
by design. That was not the written way it was supposed to go. It's so Scooby Doo. It's stupid, right? I mean, in a wonderful stupid way. And then, but like our lead, the lead who plays Lili, her name is Leilani Ramos. She's a local girl, and she was in when you watch Paco Smooth, she was in the fourth episode or the fifth episode, Pot Tarts. Um, and she plays in that. And she, when we worked back then, she said, "I'll be in anything you ever do." So I actually wrote the part for her in mind. I should reiterate too. Amy mentioned that we had filmed Plankenstein before. I rewrote it for this version,
Okay.
and yeah, and I wrote Amy in mind as the captain and Leilani as the lead. And like we could not have gotten a more beautiful, wonderful. I mean, how great is Leilani in this? Lili,
She's
is she
brilliant.
great in it?
She's really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, she's funny. You know, she's a bathing suit model and a swimsuit competition kind of girl. So if you notice through the film, she would hate me saying this, but there's times where she's really firm because she had a competition coming up, because it took us like a year to shoot this thing, right? Because time wise,
Yeah, you got
so
to
she's
run
really
people
firm.
through.
She's really firm in some scenes. In other ones, now when I say not firm for her, she's still firm, right? But she's not like firmed up for competition firm, like leaning up, right? So now the audience can look for that. But yeah,
Awesome.
normal ways. But I'll tell you, most of the ways we got the cast was stumbled upon them, because people I mean, meaning a lot of people really wanted to be on it, but once we got the initials who wanted to be on the film, I really wanted people who could play it straight. When we did auditions, so many people knew what the kind of film it was that they kind of played it too much like a B movie they thought a B movie would be, and that's not what this movie was all about. You had to play these lines straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, you got to deliver the things with. I mean, that's what makes B movies so wonderful, because they're always played pretty well as if they're
right,
not comedies, as if they are straight down the line. And these
right.
people are very, very serious in what they are delivering. The other element of the film I really wanted to touch on, and I actually picked this up from one of the other reviews I saw online, suggesting that more films should have original songs in the soundtrack which explain the lore of the explain the lore of what's going on. And you know what? Having read that, I have to say I agree with them. We need more um, of these songs that actually touch on, not since SWAT, that has a song about Samuel L. Jackson over its end credits, the actor,
Oh,
is a have I seen this level of lore delivered in song? Is that now I know, Dick, that you're a musician as well. Did you have a hand in this, or did you find the people that supported you with it?
I wrote both of the songs. So there's two. There's the intro and the outro.
Yeah.
I wrote them both. And the first one, the intro, the Plankenstein is on the loose. That's actually my wife singing the chorus, and I'm singing the verses. And I recorded everything in my box, meaning in my computer. So I did all the music on that one. The other one at the end is I wrote it, and I did a version of it that I think is horrible. So I called my nephew, Joey Jennings, who is, I can't tell you, you've heard him. He sings like an angel, right? And he plays
Yeah.
ukulele. So I knew he was going to the studio. I said, "Hey, can you please just record this one song as well?" So he recorded Plankenstein in one take, or it's called the Adorable Devil Board. Isn't it that song at the end is just, isn't it wonderful?
It's a
Yeah,
fun song. Like, yeah,
yeah.
typically a movie ends, we got places to be. You'll be like, right, okay, credits, let's roll out here. But I sat and I watched them all play out with that song. I think you need to give you give people a reason to sit through those credits. You haven't got to play the MCU game and have a post credit scene for them. You can just have an entertaining credit sequence.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say too that Diamond actually wrote it. We had a uh Owen Eddy he scored the movie, but Diamond wrote all the songs that were in it, like Burn Aboard as well as like Slow Moving Aloha. So there's other songs throughout it that Diamond actually that's one of the beautiful things of coming into filmmaking as a musician. You know, he's got a really great gift as a songwriter. So it's and to lend it to like horror just makes it this like fun crazy thing. I mean, his music's always been very fun, but it's just a different twist on it.
And Burn Aboard, that song and Burn Aboard and that night scene with the party scene, that song I did the beats and the bass line on it and this and that, and then I sent it. My brother has a studio in Portland, Oregon, recording studio. Matter of fact, that's where Joey recorded the Devil Board. So I sent it to my brother, who's an amazing guitar player, and say, hey, Rusty, can you play put some guitar and some better bass on this? I don't like what's on it. And the actor who plays Diamond Bruce in the movie, he lived on Maui. So my brother finished that music, and we found the actor on Maui. He knew a friend who had a recording studio, gave us free time, just how you work it. And that singer went in with the stuff we sent him, and he actually sang the song Burn Aboard, and we sent that to my brother. My brother mixed it and gave it to me for the movie. Yeah. So those are the steps.
Another family connection in there. So that's three of you.
Connection. Yeah.
Well, and you asked like when did this all start? We come from like my father is a writer. He's recently published what 8 or 9 books. Like since he turned like 85, he started publishing, but he's written all our lives. And even though he was in the medical profession, he was always a writer. So we all just, and our mom was just like the most supportive, loving person you could imagine, especially when it came to the arts. So we all just kind of, it's funny. Out of the 5, there's 5 kids, and out of the 5 of us, 3 of us really went into the arts. So it's cool. It's cool to have that.
That is cool. Like it is like seeing that creativity that's grown across you, and it's led to lifelong careers for 3 of you already. That's exciting stuff. The big question.
Well, we're all poor as hell, but lifelong careers.
But we're rich with creativity.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
we're all poor as hell.
wise.
I wish I'd followed my mom's direction than my dad's, but I'm kidding.
Yeah, creatively, no richer family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's what they say anyway.
So obviously I have enjoyed watching Plankenstein. Should the folks listening be looking forward to, should they be inspired? Should that right? I've got to check this out. Where should they be watching out? What are your plans for the movie to make it available around the world?
Well, I still like, it's hard to believe we got it, but we did. Amy and I worked for a year trying to figure out a distribution deal. We decided nobody got paid on this film, but so we were going to make sure this wasn't going to be one of those projects that we made that kind of went away, to the internet ether. So we got distribution. Took us a year, but we figured out. We hooked up with a team in LA called Synesthesia Factory. Great bunch of guys. They came on board as executive producers, and they found us distribution. So we are on worldwide on Amazon Prime, on Fandango, on Tubi if you want to watch it for free with commercials. We are on Onyx. I can't remember what else. It's Bloodstream. And what's the other? Vimeo TV. So
are we on Fandango?
Yeah, Fandango as well. So okay. 6 different platforms, a bunch of different ways you can watch it for free or pay, if you don't want to do commercials.
And I do want to say Synesthesia Factory, they hooked us up with Horror Collective, which is a pretty big horror distribution company. So it really was this like grand, like Diamond and I were just kind of coasting along, we were entering into festivals, and we were really kind of working, cold calling places. And then, I reached out to my manager and my manager, as well as a good friend of mine who are in the film industry as producers. And I just said, can you me some tips about distribution? And they said, you need to call Eric, who is a friend
Good
that I've
friend,
known for a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
Yeah, and he'd seen Potluck with Smooch. He'd seen parts of that, and he was like, I want. He hadn't even watched the movie yet. And he's like, I want to do it. Yes, yes. And I was like, well, let me send it to you. He's like, no, we're gonna
down.
act as your sales agent. We're gonna figure this out. So it was really cool. Kind of a. We'd just been going really slow and trying to do anything we could, and then it just went real fast, which was really cool.
You can watch it worldwide.
Yeah,
That
that's
great.
so exciting, isn't it? That you can have a film that you worked very hard on, but you did it on a absolute shoestring budget. And the very fact now that we can sit here and talk about this being available globally for people
Yeah.
to watch and enjoy, I think tremendous achievement.
Thank you, man.
Obviously, if
Well,
we
and if
could combine that
anyone
with everyone becoming rich from the film as well, that's one thing, but it's out there.
Yeah, and if
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
out
We
there
don't.
has a theater who's listening, we are willing to have the movie. We've done some screenings and stuff around LA and Hawaii, but if anyone out there wants a director and an actor to come and screen
We'll
their
come.
movie
Yeah, yeah.
in Scotland or anywhere else, we're in.
Any theaters, yeah, and we have theatrical rights, so we didn't sign those away. Distribution rights, the VOD or AVOD, that's our distributors. They got that, but we can do theaters anywhere. So yeah,
I feel like if you want a UK screening, what we want to take a look at for you is the southwest of the country where they have huge surf scenes down in Nuki and so on, where they
yeah.
have
You're right. Yeah,
tremendous like surf popularity there. People, that's our UK big
that's
surf spot where
right.
people go and take their surf competitions and their surf holidays and so on. Water, I imagine, is a little colder than it is
Yeah,
for you guys, but still a huge sport down here.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
That
We need to look into
because
that.
this
See when
movie
the big
is
competitions
crossbreed.
are on, see if we can get a
Yeah,
local cinema involved.
yeah, because this movie is kind of a crossbreed because it's a horror movie, but it's also a surf genre, right? So surfers, I mean, there's not a lot of films when you go like surf festivals, film festivals, it's all docs, it's all documentaries on
Mhm.
environmental stuff or surfers, but there's almost never narratives. Yeah, so yeah, Plankenstein's
You
crossing
could
barriers, man. We're
This is it.
crossing.
You could see the programming now. We could have a couple of documentaries on. They're important. We got to look after the environment. We got to hear about the greats of the sport. But then
Yes,
a little midnight movie to finish off.
To
yes.
show the
Everyone goes
dangers
home
of the
happy.
sport.
The
Yeah.
dangers of the sport. Yeah.
Well, I'm delighted to have met you both to have this conversation today. I now know I have two contacts I can tap on if my surf related story ever comes to life. Regular listeners to the podcast may have heard this. But I responded to you're in writing groups and you get picture prompts every so often, and it was, hey, what story would you write with this? And it is a huge like crashing wave with with a tentacle coming out the back of it, and my immediate response was, that book's title is Surf's Up Cthulhu. One of these days, my friends, I'm going to write that story, and I'm going to come to you two to make sure all
We're
of
in.
the things are together.
Yeah.
We're
I'm
in.
so involved.
We are in.
I'm involved. I will get your coffee. I love that kind of shit. I will help you with
I
that.
love that too.
Well, we really appreciate you having us on. I know it was a pain in the ass for you to work our time schedule, so thank you. You can find us at, not to get all pitchy, but we're on all social medias at Plankenstein_movie. I think Facebook we're at Plankenstein a Killer Surf Movie or something like that. But yeah, we just thank you all for just going and checking it out, and we want to thank you, Andy and Ben. It's Ben, right? Your editor. He's going to be editing.
Yeah. My other
You
half
guys
is Ben.
both.
He does the hard
You
work.
guys both have a place here in Hawaii, a place to crash, or I'll take you out. I got kayaks. I'll take you out around a couple of local islands. Come on over, brother. We
Oh,
got you.
this sounds incredible. Although you
This
might
is for
change your
real.
mind
This is
after I
for
ask
real.
you.
No,
My
this is for real, man. I would love to have you.
I'm keeping this. I'm not editing this out. This is in, so it's officially on the record.
Shit.
I do have a final question in case that changes your mind, though. The hardest question that I ask anyone that comes on the show. Obviously, we do a podcast called The Horror Hangout where people they get together and they talk about their horror movies that, which of all the genres, this is the one where you want to have people crowding on the sofa,
Totally.
round for a movie night. So now I am turning that question to both of you. in your respective homes, all of a sudden, the spokesperson from your friends phones you up and they say, Diamond, or in your case, Amy, we're coming round Friday night. We're going to have a movie night. You're both in the horror scene now. So, a horror movie, you are picking what film you're going to screen for your friends when they come round to your house for a movie night. What are you choosing for them for your own horror hangout? Amy, I'll turn to you first.
I would say Screamboat Willie. A couple of my friends
Screamboat Willie.
Screamboat Willie. I would check it out. It's there's another Amy in it, but check it out. It's my friend Steve and Amy made it, and it's a great flick. Check it out.
Screamboat Willie. Diamond, what's your choice?
Unequivocally, no questions asked. Plankenstein, a killer surf movie.
Straight in.
Well, that would be my first response. Sorry.
I mean, duh. You know what? Honestly, probably 555. Just because it's if I could figure out a way to screen it. Although I just recently found it on videotape. It is so obscure. It's like gentlemen like yourself, Andy, who seem to know way more than I will ever know about horror films. Have you ever heard of 555?
No, I haven't. Is it styled as the digits 555, or is it written as the words?
The letters, the digits,
The numbers.
Okay.
the numbers. I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna look this up.
The scenes are like you see this. You just kind of see the body going like this, going.
We can't see because you're filming your thing, Diamond.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Over a dead body. It's shot so incredibly. It is what made me like the. We're ending. Never mind. Watch 555.
555. Perfect. Amazing choices. Unique choices both. So you've been pioneers for both of those and what have been chosen. Diamond, Amy, thank you so much for starting your day on what was a holiday, and you could have stayed in bed for a little bit longer today, to chat and hang out with me for a little while. Oh, I'm glad.
Way more.
I'm putting that at the Horror Hangout podcast's own marketing. Officially better than sleeping in.
Amen.
We've done it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you both for spending a little time with me. While I'm here, though, thank you to everyone out there for listening along with us. Thanks to our old mate Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to the folks at Acast for hosting the show. Come and join us for another Horror Hangout again sometime soon. But in the meantime, while you're waiting, go to all those platforms the guys mentioned, support independent film, and watch Plankenstein, why don't you? Right, for now, bye everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you,
Bye,
Andy.
everyone. Aloha.